All right, welcome to another episode of the LogiCast. My name is BlankaKong. I'm joined by Gunnar Eos and Huddle Wolf today. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
What's good? What's good?
Right, so today's topic is going to be an interesting one. I don't know if you've ever had the urge to just throw your money away after spending your money on something. That's called tipping here in America. But here's an article about tipping in video games. Ex-Blizzard boss wants to be able to tip developers, at the end of a game, specifically single-player games. So if you play Spider-Man 2 and you're running through it and you love the game so much, and you sit there with the credits rolling in the background, and you're like, man, that game was so good. Like, those Mary Jane levels were so much fun. And then you're met with a screen that says, would you like to tip Insomniac and Sony Interactive for a great experience? And then it's like the 10, 15, 20, 25% custom, right? And then you can tip, and if your PlayStation account is linked to your credit card, it could be a smooth, easy 1, 2, 3 transaction, and you'll just give more money to the developers. That's what this guy wants. What's his name? Mike Ybarra. Mike Ybarra. This guy is a former CEO of Blizzard. This guy is a fucking millionaire. And he's like, man, I'd love to just give away another $20 or $30 for this $70 game. And to him, that's like a drop in the bucket, which, good for him, right? Cool, if you want to do that, you can. But for majority of gamers who are not in that tax bracket, an extra $10, $20, $30 is a whole nother fucking game, really. And not exactly money we would want to just give away. So, that's the introduction of the topic. What do you guys think? Who wants to go first?
Gunnar, you go first. I can't.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what planet this man is living on.
Earth, I believe it's
clearly
Earth.
it's not planet
I think
Earth.
it's Earth.
Nah, it's got to be like Earth 25 or something, since we're all multiverse in modern media, where everybody's a trillionaire and money means nothing. Because I don't see what kind of sane person makes a statement like this with a straight face. Like this article wasn't. It was, this man didn't say it on April 1st when it'd be appropriate to say something like this. He said it way
April
into
16th.
April. So he's
a few days late.
right. So he's not. It's not just a prank, bro. He's serious somehow. But yeah, pretty much TLDR. It's fucking stupid. Like, in my opinion, tipping culture in America, most European bros, this is like a foreign concept, and rightfully so. Tipping culture is out of control, and to me, this is just another. This is like a dual symptom. It's a symptom of tipping culture in America, and it's also triple A's, these big publishers and developers, just trying to nickel us one more nickel. They want to take that last nickel that we have and put it in their pocketbook. Like, that's all this is. Look, there are single player games. You have your Elden Rings. You have your God of Wars, your Last of Us, right? They mean something to different people. One man's this game is trash is another man's this game is game of the year. My tip was the $70 that I gave you. These are the same developers that told us gaming is more expensive now. It costs more to make games. Resources are tighter, so we have to charge you $70 now for this game. That's your tip. Your tip is the $10 extra that I have to pay you for a modern game. Like, Elden Ring, greatest game of the year. I love it. I'm anticipating the DLC when it comes out. I'm going to buy the DLC. I'm going to play it and I'm going to enjoy it. From Software does not deserve a tip. Their tip is the $24, I think, or $40, however much the DLC costs.
It's 40.
That's their tip. 40. Their tip is me giving them 40 of my dollars for the content that they worked on and are selling. Simple as that. I tip my barber because, you want to keep that guy friendly. He's got sharp instruments next to your neck. You keep him friendly, and, he does a good job. But a video game, please. Do you think we need to tip Suicide Squad? Did Suicide Squad deserve a tip? The game that didn't work? Please. This is dumb. This is stupid. And it's funny that it comes from a Blizzard executive because that company seems to breed, at least nowadays, breeds a very special crop of individuals. That's my initial thoughts, anyway.
All right, Wolf, do you want me to?
Well, Gunnar pretty much sums
Okay,
it
go
up.
for it. Go for it. Let's hear it.
I do agree. I believe that is utter bullshit. I mean, I will tip a waitress when I go to a restaurant simply because of the dynamics on how a waitress makes her money, um, in comparison to the amount of customer service I receive from her or him, a waiter. Um, so yes, I when I do go to restaurants, especially to dine in, the waiter or waitress can receive a tip from me because of, again, the dynamic of how their compensation works. Which means I am not tipping for no fucking video game. I am sorry. I love games. They're a great hobby of mine. That I every day I try to play at least an hour, 20 minutes maybe of any kind of video game I can get my hands on, just to relieve some of my daily normal stress, um, of my average life. But at the end of the day, Gunnar made a great point. You increase the prices of your games because you said that games are now more expensive to make, and the economy is not getting any better monetarily.
Yeah.
So why the hell would I want to play Spider-Man 2 or Elden Ring, whatever game, and then turn around and then say, hey, this game is so great, I am going to tip the developers? I don't think so. This person did their job. I am pretty sure they got paid hourly for being at the studio, doing what they got to do. Um, that's not gonna happen on my end. No, that's just like, it's like I said before. It's a new way to monetize gaming. It's a new way to squeeze, more coins out of the population. It's like, you ever do dishes and then you squeeze the sponge so hard to get as much water and
Yes.
sun out of this, right? But you keep squeezing the sponge because it just feels too damp. So you keep squeezing because you're like, there's more water in there, right? That's we're like sponges and they just
Damn.
keep squeezing us.
Yeah. So this.
That's what it is
No,
to me.
I don't think you're wrong. So just a few points because there's more than one quote here in the article. It's a short article. It'll be linked in the description in case you want to read it. It's from IGN, or no, it's from. He was speaking to IGN, I think, and no, it was picked. It was initially reported by IGN, but the link is from GameSpot. So anyway, he's not totally unaware. He notes that most will dislike this idea. No kidding. So he's aware of Earthlings and how we operate. He believes that some games are just that special. Games like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, I think that's a little questionable, Red Dead Redemption 2, Baldur's Gate 3, and Elden Ring, among others. I know most will dislike this idea. I realize we are tired of tipping in everything else, but I view this as different from a pleasure to tip type scenario many face and give feedback on. He also notes, there was another article in here, or another quote, I believe. No, that was pretty much it. So he's self-aware that this is not going to be a popular thing. I think this is just a really shitty opinion from a really privileged position in society that he could just say this and then it's just whatever. But here's my problem with it, right? Let's say they rolled this out. If I decided to tip $10 to Naughty Dog for the last Uncharted game, where's my $10 going? Where's it really going?
That's the question.
It's going to be added to that company's overall bank account, and it's just going to sit there on another just a big pile of money that they have. Is the artist or the composer or the writers or the actors and actresses that worked on this game, are they gonna see any kind of royalties from that? Probably not. So I don't. This is why when I go, when I go to a restaurant and I dine in, I also tip because it's a part of American culture to do that, and I know there's a push to like not tip anymore, but listen, I worked in service before. It's not an easy job. I get it, and if the person was exceptional, then yeah, I'm gonna drop them a 5 or a 10er, like whatever. But I know that, and I always do that in cash too, and I make sure that I hand them, even if I'm paying debit or credit, which is more often the case. I make sure that I tip in cash because I want to make sure that that person gets the $5 or the $10 or the 20 if I'm feeling generous. Like I want them to get it, not not the manager, not the fucking owner, not the shithead fucking busser who didn't do anything that day. No, I'm tipping this person. And I'm afraid with this, with this suggestion, if it was real, that wouldn't be the case. It would just be given to the company, and then they can use that money for whatever it is they want to use it for.
Yep. I mean, that's exactly what would happen. Like, the development team probably wouldn't see a dime of your your theoretical $20 tip. That's going straight to the CEOs, the suits, the court. It's going straight to them. Like, the team isn't going to see any of that money. Like, no.
No,
No.
but they'll know about it. They'll know that their video games that they sat down for so many grueling hours. Hey, you guys, Uncharted 6 top charts. We made additional money off of this because of the whole tipping thing. You guys did great. Thumbs up. There you go.
Yeah, that sounds like when you do good at work. It's like, hey, you're gonna guys get a pizza party. Except in this case,
Yeah.
they don't even get the pizza party. Like, they don't. At least you get pizza in one of them.
That's what they'll get. They'll get a nice little email from the CEO thanking them for their hard work, and then points towards something they can probably like maybe a reward system that they have, or a pizza party, or a new coffee
get a gold
machine.
star. Sick.
You get enough
Exactly.
to buy a Naughty Dog keychain, even though you work at Naughty Dog, and you could just pick one up from the floor, probably.
It's we know where the money is going. That's why I didn't even bother mentioning, because it's not really actually going to the dudes who actually put in the work. It's going to the guys who yes, they did greenlit the idea or the projects or whatever, but they're the ones who's sitting in their chair waiting for all the money to roll in. They get the bigger piece of the pie. Why the hell am I giving them $10 more out of the $70? I mean, $70. I see video games in the next few years. I wouldn't be surprised if they cost $100 because they just keep upping the ante. And then on top of this, you even had the gall to come out of your mouth, out of your face, using God's given words and put together a sentence as in gamers should tip developers. The fuck?
So funny enough, this is you didn't plan this, but this is a good tie-in. We discussed this in a previous episode. These guys, these big like Blizzards and Ubisoft, I mentioned Ubisoft for a reason. They're like, oh, these games are so good. Ubisoft would probably latch on to an idea like this wholeheartedly. Yeah. So like, imagine you're the guy who pays $135 for the latest Star Wars game, the Digital Deluxe Big Dick Edition, and you drop $135 and you beat the game, and you might be one of the guys who thinks this is the greatest Star Wars game ever made by mankind. Imagine seeing that, a little pop-up notification when the credits finish rolling. If you enjoyed this game, would you like to donate? Here are the increments that we suggest, our suggested tipping, and like they want you to tip another $100, even though you paid $135. Like, Wolf, if you think games are crazy now at 70, we got guys out here trying to charge, not trying, they are going to charge for certain bundles $135 for a singular game and all of the shitty fucking DLC that they cut out of it. And then to have the nerve and And then to have a nerve in like a theoretical hellscape world that these people want us to live in, to then be asked to tip, bro. I don't tip for the people who make me coffee. Let me behind the counter. I'll make my own coffee. I'm not tipping a video game.
I
Sorry.
get.
The waiter and waitress, we can have like nuanced arguments about it. The barber, the nail technician for women, sure, we could talk
Well,
about
pal,
that.
did
But
you just assume only women go to nail stylists?
yeah, you know what? We gonna keep it binary on this chat, okay? Like, hey,
That is hilarious.
if you disagree, you leave a comment. I'll get back to you.
That is hilarious.
But it's just like, imagine paying a $1.35 to then be given a stupid little pop up that tips, and you know these people. They would guilt trip the shit out of you if you say no. Like, are you really sure? Our team at whatever company worked really hard on making this game. Don't you think they deserve a little kick? But like, they're gonna guilt trip the shit out of you. Like,
They
no.
can't guilt trip me because I mean, listen, if I can get freaking charity mail in my mailbox with little Timmy on the cover in a ripped up shirt and a dirty cheek and throw the shit away, then you can't guilt me into spending an additional 5, 10, $20
Oh, the ones
on
where
a tip.
they
Of,
send you a nickel. It's like one nickel could save his life. Then why'd you send it to me? Send it to him.
you know, the amount of money that you're wasting on the paper and the print to send to me, you could have put all that money towards little Timmy. But what I'm saying is, in the end of the day, is like this all doesn't just it just doesn't make sense. You want okay, so it's now the norm to release games in their alpha beta stages, which means
Unfortunately, yeah.
you have to pay for their upgrades. Now you got to pay for the DLCs. Then you got to pay for the online subscription if the game is an online service game or if the game is something that would need
Or
online
pay for the battle
cuz
pass
okay,
or whatever?
or pay for battle passes and whatever. Now on top of that, after I go through all of that and get my credits rolling, now you want me to tip you an additional of whatever X amount that you feel, even if you just put, say, into the amount that you want me to tip. Like if it's just zero and then you get to punch in what you want, that's still highly insulting to me because in the end of the day, you charge me for your extra game because you gave me a game that's incomplete. You charge me for all the DLC for me to fully enjoy the game. You charge me for battle passes to get certain advantages in the game. This is a gamer I'm a gamer who grew up where you unlocked things by playing the game,
Mm.
not not by swiping your credit card. Okay, so I'm in a completely different era. So for those younger guys or younger girls or younger people, whatever you want to consider yourself as, cat, dog,
Okay.
whatever, in the end of the day, like if you're in that realm where you grew up on DLC, then and you're okay with monetization on your video games, on your hobby, then do you. But in the end of the day, this is coming from a point of view of someone who did not. I bought a game for $50 fucking and I got the whole goddamn game. The whole
And
game.
sometimes not even that, right? Like there were purchases that we've all made, I'm sure, for $50, $60, and we were super disappointed.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I would like that's absolutely true. But at the end of the day, at least I got the whole damn game. Like I got the whole game. I didn't have to buy a game that I'm disappointed in and then turn around and be like, just to get a little more enjoyment out of it, I spend money on a DLC map pack or I spend money on a DLC expansion set. And then turn around and say, hey, look, the developers worked really hard on this game. Give them a tip. We know it's not going to those people who worked really hard. We know that. So at the end of the day, like to even come up with that idea, what he did was now taint the idea. He now tainted the
Yeah, he planted a
possibilities
seed.
of how,
Yup. Which
yeah, of
Yeah.
how people can get more money from the gamers. And it's so horrible because I bought Tekken 8 the other day. And it's like, honestly, I see where it's taking a lot of inspiration from Dead or Alive DLC, because all the additional costumes, all the additional parts to customize your characters, they all cost money. They cost physical money. And in the end, and the way I look at it is, okay, so I bought a fighting game who is expected to have 6 more characters in the game. If I want the full fighting game, I'm gonna spend an additional five times six is $30, right? So, because I believe the characters are gonna be released at either $5 or
I
$6.
believe five
So
each,
five
and it
times,
might be like a character bundle at the end of the seasons where you might get it for like
Yeah, I
25 or
imagine
something
that
like
would
that.
right?
be.
Yeah.
Which exactly. So you save $5. So in actuality, the game didn't cost me $70. The game cost me $90 to $100, depending on how I buy the characters or how long I'm willing to wait to buy the characters. Then there's the costume for the characters, and that adds up. That adds up, especially if you're a Tekken fan and you love to customize your characters. You're not going to stick to just one style of your character. You're going to find yourself start buying all sorts of different clothes and outfits. And as these costumes are being released, you're just going to fall into it. And little before you know it, you've already spent an additional $70 just to customize the 3 or 4 characters that you enjoy using in the fighting game as is. And then on top of that, the you got to pay for online if you want to play online. Like, are you really going to sit there and plant that seed, that mustard seed, that in the end of the game, we actually, it'll be a great idea if we tip develop? Like, come on, what kind of buffoonery? Here's an idea. Here's a great idea. How about if we complete the video game, we get $5 back? How about that? How about that? Make that an achievement. Beat Spider-Man 2 in 3 hours. You get $5 back. I beat that shit in 2 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds just to make my $5 back.
How about this? How about at the end of the game, you take a survey, and depending on how well or how poorly you score the game, you get a percentage of your game back. So, like, if you were really unsatisfied with the game, you get 50% back.
Exactly.
They
How
would
about
never
that?
do that.
How about putting back into the economy? How about putting back into the gamer community? How about that?
Sir, I don't think you're fired. First of all, you're fired. But they did mention in an article. They said while some have agreed that it would be a good option to have for some games, most commenters, unsurprisingly, don't like the idea of being asked for an extra tip after completing a game. Some gamers pointing out that their pockets aren't deep enough to afford anything more than the price of the game, while some express that it would be hard to trust that tips on AAA games would actually go back to developers who made it. So that is basically what we just talked about. And then the last thing that I wanted to point out, which I'll just read the last paragraph of the article. Ybarra's comments come at a tumultuous time for the industry, with many major companies scaling back, resulting in layoffs, studio closures, and game cancellations. AAA development costs have skyrocketed in recent years, with former PlayStation boss Sean Layden saying that the current state of AAA development is unsustainable. That's the other problem too, right? They make these games, right, for better or for worse, and even if the game is successful or profitable, if it is not profitable enough, then they will cut people loose. And the people who are getting cut loose or laid off aren't CEOs, executives. They're not, any of the higher echelon of a particular corporation. It's not those guys taking pay cuts. The only time I've ever been alive to see an executive say we're taking a pay cut is Nintendo, when Iwata was still alive, and he was like, you know what, I fucked up. The 3DS wasn't what I thought it would be, and we need to readjust. I'm going to take a pay cut. That was over 10 years ago that happened. That's never happened again, at least not publicly to my knowledge. These motherfuckers ain't doing that. And Iwata was a developer. He was, I think he was a part of the first Kirby game development. Like he was there. Like he knows what it was. Rest in peace. So he rather take a pay cut than cut loose, programmers and game designers and character designers and all this, because he gets it, right? Or he got it. And we don't see that now. Now it's the opposite. Now it's, well, fuck it, we could just hire more artists. Well, fuck it, we could just hire more composers, whatever. They're a dime a dozen, right? It's these are the people we need to like exile and like gatekeep, is these fucking greedy ass executives, these guys who just see it as, this is a business and we just need to make number go up. That's it. Like, the fuck those guys have no passion, no care for the actual product, for the actual art behind it. They don't care. They've never played a game in their life. I've met some of these people and they are so fucking wooden. I'm just like, I fucking hate. I hate that you're a millionaire or just extremely wealthy off the backs of like passionate people who really want to make this stuff, and people who love this stuff, myself included. Like, you're just monetizing it. You're just a fucking oil rig, just taking the oil out. Like, you're no different than a fucking machine doing that. Like, you're just extracting, and you could care less if the industry crumbles, because you're just gonna pivot to another industry. You're a piece of shit. Fuck you. Right? That's what I of course I didn't say this to them, because it's not gonna do anything, right? It would just get me kicked out of whatever con or whatever room I'm in. But like, that's how I feel. It's just like, you're such a piece of shit, and those are the people we need to like push out. Those people don't deserve to be a part of the industry. But unfortunately, the way things are, like, these are the people who fund a lot of these projects, and these are the people who are appointed in these like leadership roles, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. That's how the chips fall, and so I just have to accept it. The only thing I can realistically do is vote with my wallet and just pick and choose what I'm going to support, and not engage in nonsense like tipping or nonsense like battle passes, or I don't even engage in mobile games. Fuck that. I don't even touch them shits, because I think the whole thing is predatory and fucking toxic. No, thank you. So that's the best thing I can do as an individual. And I have the conversations with other people about this, and maybe my ideas will rub off on somebody else, and maybe eventually, it'll be a big enough of a dip in business to where they maybe they'll change, right? That's wishful thinking, but what do you guys think about that?
Yeah. At the end of the day, the saying "money walks," and bullshit talks and money walks. That's a saying for a reason. You have to hit these people in the wallet. And speaking of wallet, I know in the article, they mentioned that how like tipping is kind of a thing with indie developers or modders. Not blaming the article for being disingenuous, but that's a different story. Like, if this, like, let's say Skyrim, right? Everybody knows Skyrim. It's on every fucking. If it's on your toaster, it probably works. It probably works on your fridge. So everybody knows Skyrim. But like, some of these people make mods that are so in depth and so like well thought out, and entire expansions that rival and even in some cases dwarf Bethesda's actual expansions. I understand wanting to support that guy or gal in a monetary way. It's like, hey, look, you took your time. You're not getting paid for this to make a really bomb-ass mod or a really good expansion. Is there any way I can, like, give you a 10, give you a 20, something to show, I really like your work? And with indie developers, they're not these multi-million-dollar international companies that have budgets. These are sometimes people that are small teams or just solo operations. And it's just like, you know what? I want to support you. How can I do that? Like, I like what you're doing. How can I support you so you could continue doing what you're doing? So I just noticed that part of that reference in the article, and it was just like, it's not what this Blizzard guy is asking, and tipping a guy for a really well done mod in a video game, that's not the same. That it's not the same, because these guys are doing it with no paycheck, and I just want to give them a little something to go, you know what, you didn't have to do this, you didn't have to care about this the way you did, but you did. So I just want to show you a little appreciation. Yeah. That's, to me, the truest definition of a worthwhile tip.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
That's how it should be. Yeah, that's exactly how it should be. And again, that goes back to the idea of, well, the dynamic is different. because these indie gamers or indie developers, to my understanding, are developers that want to get their traction, want to get their feet off the ground to become big time game developers. But it usually starts with that heart of gold where you're doing something that you love, right? So these indie developers that's doing it, they're making these games because they love they love video games, or they're putting passion into their video games, and they're trying to get traction. If my $5 can help with that, for me to continue to enjoy the kind of games they're pushing out into the media, then I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I will never, ever, ever tip a multi-million-dollar video game company. I will never do that. Like, I will never do that. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, you don't have a monetization. You don't have a money issue. Like, the crazy part is, this is coming from a guy, in my personal opinion, who's these multi-million-dollar video games, these so-called AAA video games, a lot of them don't even compare to the indie games as a game.
Yep.
You understand? Okay, so they have the pretty graphics because, you got to get the man in the tight suit with the balls attached all around him to shape out the 3D models and all that other stuff. Then you got to get the AAA voice actors. Then you got to get the AAA scenery guys to go ahead and paint the scenery, build the scenery in 3D models. But what am I really getting? Like, a lot of these AAA games as of late, they're just pretty pictures. That's all they are.
Or
In my
walking
personal
chat
opinion.
simulators where you're just walking and listening to the dialogue, and like you're not even playing the game at that point. Like,
Yeah, but the
Exactly.
grass looks good.
And then but when you play a lot of these indie games, you can see the love behind the game itself. Like that, they're games, right? There's what we expect out of a video game is what a lot of indie game developers do try to give the community. And I think that is absolutely okay. If Gunna finds an indie game developer who is trying to get his or her traction off the feet, and he decides to tip them $30, I can understand that, because it'll entice them to keep creating something that he genuinely likes or enjoys from them. But I am not gonna pay a AAA game, because you know what? Like I said, and I'm gonna keep on it. I pay $70 for this AAA game. They're gonna squeeze me through DLC. They're gonna squeeze me through Battle Pass, and then on the end, they're gonna want to squeeze me through tipping them, huh? No, get out of here with that. Go kick rocks.
Yeah.
so
Please.
I started reading the comments as you guys were discussing it, and one of the comments makes a really good point. Sounds like this guy, Accursed Destiny, says sounds like a quick way to pay developers even less by saying they work on tips. That's true too. If the tipping thing became a reality, and they being high level executives see like, they make a lot of money on tips. We could just move some things around, be like, hey, listen, you guys have to do better, and if you guys want to increase and a bonus, you gotta push the tipping. You gotta push the tipping. So figure it out. Push the tipping, and entice the customer, entice your consumers to tip, and then you guys will get a bigger paycheck. Okay, this is the only way we're gonna make money. This stuff costs, your supplies and paying you guys medical insurance, something like that costs money. You guys gotta make it happen, right? And what are the developers gonna do? They're gonna make it so fucking annoying where it's just gonna come up every few fucking minutes. Would you like to tip? Would you like to tip? Would you like to tip? Enjoying the game so far? Give us a tip. Like, bro, at that point, I'm breaking my controller and I'm never playing that game ever again. Like, get that shit out of my face. Like, I cannot stand that. And that's what would happen, right? And it's like what they tried to do, or I guess some games still do it, where they try to like introduce advertisement into your video games. Like, you gotta sit there and watch a fucking commercial for a TV show, or a clothing brand, and it's like, are you serious? Like, that's crazy to me. I remember, I forget which basketball game, what year, but I remember so many people complaining about like a particular basketball game. It was 2K, of course. That's the only basketball game that comes out now.
Right.
But I forget the year, and it came out, and they had like in-game forced watch advertisements for like a new FX TV show, and like you had to sit there and watch the fucking ad, bro. And I'm like, oh, so disgusting. And that's a step further than like what Capcom did with like the whole like having advertisement on like character clothing or like having a billboard in the background or something like that. Like that's I don't like that either, but like the forced ad shit was like you're
At least it's cleverly placed, because if you don't see it,
you know, I get it. Like it's in there and it's trying to influence you, but like for me, it's like very easy to ignore. But like a fucking ad just popping up and like, nope, you have to watch this 30-second ad if you want to play your game. Yo, get this game out of my system. Give me my money back. I don't ever want to. That would be insane to me. I don't know.
Ew, that just it's like a whole new. I've heard about that, but it's just like being reminded of it. It's just like a whole new level of just.
I mean, they're gonna keep trying, right? Like especially the sports games. They're the most egregious, in my opinion. Like I think the latest 2K game, like you had to, like they had a league pass deal where like if you wanted additional, like you know, creative points. I don't really know. Like I don't play them, so like I know very little. Like I don't know the nuances of it, but like I know that if you want to min max your character builds, your my player builds, it's ideal to get the league pass because you'll get more coins and more points or whatever. In addition to also buying more fucking coins, it's like, fuck, bro. Like, what happened to just playing the game? Like, that's crazy to me. And then people fully embrace it, and you know, the companies, the publisher, and the developers are going to see, well, it's working. You know, we've seen a 20% increase in overall revenue and higher engagement because they're measuring all this shit. Like,
oh, yeah.
They're going to continue to do it, and then they're going to look for more ways. Like, okay, well, let's try something else. Like, what's another way we can, like, basically price gouge our current client base? Because growth in the industry has stagnated. I think we've gone over articles in the past about that. How, you know, we're seeing all these layoffs because, well, the gaming industry is kind of plateaued.
Games have hit their cap.
They kind of plateaued, and so now they're like, well, fuck, we need to make more money because that's like this weird, I'm going to say toxic. I think that's toxic about capitalism is like, you know, we need to make more. We need to double sales. It's like, well, my man, like, we were profitable. Like, you know, everybody got paid. You know, the company's not crumbling. Like, we're doing pretty good. No. We need 25% increase year over year.
Better.
And it's like, oh my god, like that shit drives me nuts. Esoteric isn't here, but like you mentioned indie games. I watch like 80% to 90% of Esoteric streams. And I could tell you the emotions on this man's face when he's playing an indie game versus playing like a AAA game. Like I think back to the Spider-Man game, and like when he was doing that Ferris wheel bullshit, and like the walk-in chats with Harry Osborn and all that, and the look
riding bikes is
riding the bike and sneaking into their old high school and all this stupidest shit in the world. Like, and his look, the sadness in this man's face watching this, and like lying to himself, like, oh, this game's pretty good. Like, I'm like, he's lying to himself right now. And then to watch him play something like Tunic, or to watch him play Ender Lilies, or to watch him play like Death's Door he was playing the other night, like. And he's like legit like, oh, this game, oh, this is cool. Like, and it's just like a little, you know, it's basically a Super Nintendo game with better graphics. Like, that's really what it is at the end of the day. And like, he's having a blast. And it's like, you know why? Esoteric? You're playing a real game. You're engaging with something fun and interesting, and not this fucking preachy, you know, thing that's posing to be a game. It's not a game. It's lies. You're being fed lies. But. You know, that's just something I noticed. And he might. I don't know if he listens to these. I don't know if he listens to the episodes that he's not a part of back. But like, if you are listening, you're lying to yourself. Spider-Man 2 is kind of lame, especially the first half. Just saying. But you guys have any other like final thoughts on this particular topic? We still got time, but there's only so much we can
Yeah.
gain out of this particular topic.
Like my final thought is just like this is just another sign to vote with your wallet. Be very, very conscious about what you're buying. You know, no matter what, it doesn't matter what you play on, PC, Xbox, Switch, P5, doesn't matter. Like all of these big AAAs are scum. They might wear a different face, they might rock a different color, but they're all out to get your dollars. And just be smart about what you're buying. And you know, it's okay to buy an indie game. So 9 times out of 10, they have more thought, passion, and effort put into them than the biggest games out there. And just I don't know, just be smart about your purchases. You don't have to buy everything that comes out, and you sure as hell don't have to tip. Like that's just oh my god. And Wolf mentioned it, and I didn't even draw this correlation when I saw this story. Like the seed that's been planted. It's just like, you know, this is going to come up again because the same seed was, oh, this is why games have to cost $70 now. And now that seed is a poisonous flower where you see most of these games are now $70. Even Nintendo is doing it. Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, $70 game, and Nintendo was like, "Whoa, we have to do it because it costs a lot." Like, how did it cost any different from the first game? Knowing what I know about Tears of the Kingdom now, okay, you added an underground level, but that was literally just a copy and paste of Hyrule's map. That cost me the $10 extra. Okay, Nintendo. Okay, sure. Okay, buddy. Whatever you say. So, you know, I'm like, now I'm annoyed that another seed has been planted, and I know the likes of Ubisoft and EA are gonna pick this shit up. Might not be this year, might not be next year, might not be till 5 years from now, but we're gonna see this again. I guarantee you, we're gonna see this brought up again. That's my final thought on it.
Wolf, anything?
Nah, just pure fuckery. So I'm gonna leave it alone.
Fair enough. The last thing I'll say is you reminded me of there was another controversy. I think it was from a few years ago. I think it was a former Activision exec, and he was like, or was it an EA exec? It might have been EA. Tomato, right? He was like how he wanted to figure out a way to monetize in-game purchases. So like, if you're playing like Battlefield or Call of Duty,
oh, I remember
they'll
that.
charge you like $1 to reload or something like that, to reload faster.
Yes.
That was a thing. That was the thing.
Whoa. Go back again on that. Repeat that.
Sure. So there was a former, I think it was an EA executive, who was like
one of those
fucking guys. It was EA or Activision, or one of those two. And I'll see if I could find the article. I'll link it in the description.
I think it was EA because he was referring to Battlefield.
The more I think about it, the more I remember. I'm pretty sure it was EA, and he wanted to figure out a way to like smoothly monetize concurrent users during high stress situations, like you're in a gunfight and you're out of ammo, like you're completely out, and it's like, well, for 99 cents, we could just give you a full new clip instead of you trying to knife the guy or something like that. So like he was trying to do something like that, and obviously like if they decided to do that, they would have probably nerfed like, you know, the magazine sizes or whatever to like, you know, to perpetuate that business model. And like it never saw the light of day, but like that was like a conversation. That was like a thing that was like on the table and could have made its way into like first person shooters or maybe even other games, right? You're out of MP for your ultimate Blizzard attack. Hey, listen, for $2.99, you know, we give you a potion on right now. You get 50 MP, right? Like that's crazy. So this whole thing just reminded me of that, and how outraged people were with it. So that was the thing. That was the thing, and that's something we can see return.
So crazy. Yeah. The crazy thing is, all it needs is just like all they have to do is just hit you over the head a couple times, and you'll go, yo, I want to stop getting hit over the head. Fine. You can add the $10 reload. Fine. And it's just like those little things that add up, and before you know it, we're like that movie, fucking Ready Player One, where 70% of my fucking screen is covered with ads, and the rest is the game. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
at that point, look, I think we've said it a couple times in this podcast. If not, I'll say it again. I know Kong, and I'm pretty sure Wolf, have plenty of old games from various consoles that we can just like, all right, you know what? I'm going to cancel the PSN. I'm going to cancel the Nintendo Online. I'm going to just boot these shits up, bust out my 3DS, my PS2, PS3, 4, whatever, and just play these old games. Like, I don't have to give you money. This is a luxury. This is not a necessity. Necessity is food, water, shelter. I don't need to play your latest game. I really don't. And with the way some of these are going out, I'm not missing out on much. I might miss an Elden Ring every now and then. You know, at a certain point, I can live.
You'll survive.
Yeah, I'll live. I've got plenty of games to play. So,
brother, I think I told you this the other day. Like, I started playing Pokemon Omega Ruby again, just because. Like, I was like, let me just play a Nuzlocke challenge for me, like, just for fun, right? No additional costs. No, like, hey,
Nope.
you gotta pay for your Nintendo Online membership. It's like, no, fuck you. I have the game. I have the system. I have electricity. I'm good. I can play the game with no issues. And the last thing I wanted to say, and this is in regards to what you said, Gunnar, about Nintendo kind of jumping on the bandwagon, the $70 bandwagon. It's kind of like how it's an unfortunate reality of all kinds of business, where like if the market greenlights a certain behavior, then anybody who doesn't kind of get in line just misses out. So like an example would be like,
yeah.
if I ran a game store and I had like a nice inventory, right? And I didn't take the time to look at like online market prices, I am potentially leaving money on the table, right? So if I have a copy of Haunting Ground, let's say I have a complete in box, that goes for like $400 to $500, but I feel like that's crazy. I'm not going to charge that, and I charge $150 for it, right? Because I feel like that's a fair. I mean, it's a high price. That's a fair price, right? Scalpers, resellers are just going to come in my store and be like, yo, this idiot's got this shit for $150.
Yeah, right.
And he's going to scoop it, even though I know he's going to scoop it up, and then he's going to resell it. And that same copy just gets resold to somebody else for $400 and $500. And then I miss out on $300 of profitability for doing, air quotes, the right thing.
But you add morals.
Right? Same thing with like, renting right now and the housing crisis right now. Like, not to get too real world political here, but hey, we're all kind of feeling it, I think. I'm pretty sure. Rent is skyrocketing. Like, it's insane. And like, if let's say you're paying, $1,200 for rent, which I know is a dream, right? But let's say you're paying $1,200, right, for like a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom, and this is for renters, and the market in your city is like $2,000. Your landlord is going to be like, well, fuck, I could be making $2,000 a month, or I could just, keep this guy on. He's a good tenant, but like, so most landlords are going to be like, nah, fuck it. I'm going to raise you got to pay the new rate's $2,000. Sorry. That's the new market. And if you decide not to sign the new lease, then I'm just going to find somebody else who will. And maybe I'll charge them more. Maybe I'll charge them $2,200. Right. And that's the sad, unfortunate reality of like your example with Tears of the Kingdom, where Nintendo, I'm pretty sure if the $70 price hike didn't happen, Tears of the Kingdom would have been $60. No, there's no doubt in my mind that would have been the case. But they saw that they had a big time release that was going to do really well either way. They saw that the market had changed. Now $70 is the norm. The backlash wasn't nearly as bad as people thought it would be. They were like, well, fuck. The market says it's okay. We're gonna charge $70. We're gonna see what happens. We're only gonna do it in Zelda. We're not gonna fuck around and charge $70 for Metroid or nothing. We're just gonna do it with Zelda. We're gonna see what happens. And the game sold. It did all right. It did really very well, right? At $70. So they're like, okay. And so now they're like, okay, well, we're gonna charge different amounts depending on the quality of the game. Air quotes, right? So Pikmin 1 and 2 came out. I think that launched at like $40 or $50. Pikmin 4 launched at like $60. I'm mentioning these games because they came out around the same time. They came out in the same year, right? Princess Peach Showdown, whatever, that came out, that launched at $60, right? Because they know If they put that shit for $70,
Yeah, ain't no way in hell.
it's gonna be like a a bit of a whiplash. You're like, no, let's not do that. Let's not be silly, guys. Let's play our cards right. They're smart. They're smart. So yeah, it sucks, but hey, we have to honestly. The people to blame is other gamers and other consumers who buy the stuff at this rate enough to where it signals to the developers.
Yeah. I mean, I bought a lot of the Zelda stuff. I have the collector's edition and the game, so I'm not holier than thou, listening to this. I am not better than you. I did it. I participated in it as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's all. You got to choose your battles, dog. For me, Zelda. After playing the game, I don't think it was worth the $70, but I didn't know that going into it. I now do. So now, because I learned my lesson, I'm gonna look at the next Zelda game and go, "Are you?" Because they're gonna do it. I mean, Kong brought up a good point. They're gonna do it. The next Zelda game will if it's not a remake, it will probably be a $70 game. I'm gonna look like, okay, I might wait. I've never waited on a Zelda game, but this one might get me to wait to see what is this game bringing. And if it's worth the money, I'll buy it. If it's not, I'll wait. I know Nintendo games barely go on sale, but if one shows up for $50, that's as low as it's probably going to go. I'll pick it up then.
Yep.
Yeah. Can't even be mad at that. So, anyways, that was today's topic. For those listening and made it this far, thank you for your viewership. Hope you gleaned something of value from our conversation. Us old gamers just bitching to the fucking air about the state of the industry.
Grandpa.
I have self-awareness. I know what it looks like. And I know people probably go, oh my god, these guys just talk and just complaining all the time. It's like, hey, listen, man, it's the point of the podcast. We just talk about stuff that we're passionate about, and give you long-form content. So if you enjoy this kind of content, leave a like, a dislike if you didn't. Comment down below. Let us know what you think. Are you willing to tip for games that you enjoy playing? I think I watched Asmongold's reaction to this. I saw I was initially privy to this whole thing, and his thing was, well, tipping it already exists in the form of buying DLC and buying merchandise for said game. It already exists. You can support franchises and companies by buying additional products.
Yeah, the merchandise. That's a good point.
That was one of his points, which made a lot of sense to me. It's like, I've got a statue case full of fucking Monster Hunter figures. I love Monster Hunter, so I'm going to support it. And you see what that franchise is. So subscribe.
2025 could be very good or very scary.
True. Subscribe for more content. We do podcasts like this every single week. We cover a range of topics. So definitely subscribe for that. Check the description down below to get the article links, so you can read the articles that we reference, as well as all the social media links. So we have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, and TikTok. We also have a Discord, we also have a Twitch. Mr. Esoteric runs the Twitch. He streams 2 to 3 times a week. So definitely check that link, give him a follow, and check out his stream. I think you'll enjoy it. He plays all sorts of games. So, anyways, with that being said, we'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Till next time.